In these videos, we're going to work with the Plant Factory from e-onsoftware, applications that allow us to create very sophisticated plants, and not just the plants. We actually can create a lot of different other stuff inside, and after use them inside the other applications like Vue, Cinema 4D, 3D Max, Unreal Engine, and more. So this is very powerful engine because with the plants that we're creating here, we can utilize and use them as a living components. For example, you can see even right here with the nodes, plants will change with age, they can grow, they can die, they can change the appearance based on the seasons. They also can be lush with good elements or kind of dying in a bad environment. And if you're interested and see what applications can do, you can always go to my website or a YouTube channel, and you'll find a lot of tutorials there for the Plant Factory. We can build very unusual plants. You can even build gears. You can build actually the plants like a money tree, so you can grow your own digital money, and you can see some very interesting, very extravagant plants we can create it, or towers or gears. Anyway, just be sure you check our playlists on my channel in YouTube, or check on a Geekatplay website. But you know what? You don't necessarily need to do this because we'll cover very much in depth all of the Plant Factory options in this series of videos. Well, let's start from looking on the interface, what we have right there. And you'll notice we have a drop down on the top. We have a drop down options. Below we have a fast bar access to specific functions of the applications. On the left side we have a bar with the components that we can create, like for example branch, roots, and other things. On the middle, this is our workspace, and workspace you can customize. You can create as many windows you wanted. By default it's come with like 4 kind of areas. I will say maybe 3, and 1 is special, and this is a node based. And yes, this is applications, mostly it's a node based work. However, you could draw that plane directly in your view windows on the right side, which is the 2-dimensional representation of 3-dimensional space. Next, just below these drawing windows, you can see we have options where we can select painting tool for drawing if we want to freehand create our plants. Back to our left side, under our nodes, we have options where we can access to the properties. These properties will change depending on what component we're working. For example, if we're going and select like a root, you can see right here trunk actually element, and it's selected. You can see it's changed some properties down below. So now we have a segment, mesh, influence, all additional set of properties that we can work with this specific segment. And of course we can build more, and you can see right here we have input, child, and we can build more and more and more of this. So this is screen, and on our other side, let me delete this trunk right now. We won't go use this. We have it below, kind of more like drawing tools, and it is a little bit smaller, but we can of course readjust and move it around. And of course if you mess around with the UI or anything else, you can always go to File, Options, and click right here Reset to Default. So just in case if you somehow went to the place and then you don't know how to reset, you can go there and reset to default settings on your applications. So below our 2D representation, our work view windows, we also have an element where we can have it automatic mode, or meaning we can actually take brush and painting ourselves. For example, let's go click and upload, and you notice right here we have our trunk, so we can select some trunk. And notice what's happening when I'm drawing. It just start. You can just literally drawing. Well, I don't think I want to do root. Let's go just select our branches, and you can see I can just select branch and start painting my plant. So right here we have our plant painting in 3 dimensions. So it's kind of fun way, to create different type looking plants, and you can twist it. Next to this, you'll notice we have materials, and these materials would apply to the plants. Of course, you can access this more to the editor materials. Similar to the view, just double tap click and you can open your material editor. By default, it will be in a basic mode. I will highly recommend to go to advanced mode by click advanced materials. And this you will have it a little bit more complex, but you will have access to very powerful system to work with materials. Of course, we'll cover more about these materials later, but also if you're familiar with Vue or you're watching other my videos about Vue, you'll find out this will look very familiar to what we have it inside the Vue. And this is kind of a nice combination, because if you work with Plant Factory and you after decide to work with Vue, it's very easy to work together because a lot of stuff will be very similar. Similar options, similar how the nodes work, similar way how editors work. So this is kind of nice. Okay, let's close it. And also think about this, that this application have at multiple levels, yes, of complexity. The one easiest one, when you click and you kind of start with paint brushing, create your plan. So it's first level, very easy, just all visual. Second one, when you start going with the nodes, kind of readjusting here. And third one, when we start working a little bit more with editors. In some cases, things the editor is maybe like a properties only on a specific. Okay, so we done this. Let's kill that stuff. We don't need this anymore. And let's go over very fast what we have here. As it says on the top, we have a drop-down menu, which allowed us to save, create new file, preloaded already exists, import, export plans from other things, create specific components that we can reuse in other plans, or also add to the options. And options have a lot of properties inside that we will cover in another videos. Just the overall know it's there here. For now, just this reset option to default, that's probably it's most important to use. Okay, next we have it edit, where we have access to our active tools. It's on the bottom right there. We also have access to add geometry. Same things what we have it on our left tab, those, but you can also just access from drop down inside if for some reason you miss something. You have it increase resolution, decrease resolution option. Some is gray out because for this you'll need select specific component to make those become active, but right now it does not select it, so it will be gray out. You also have it all as group and groups by segment. Connectivity, after connectivity, it's when you add, you remember when I drag and drop one, it's created. For example, if we have it like this, now it's not connected, so you can connect it in. And if you enable after connectivity, it's meaning anytime when you add new, you can see it will after connect. In many times, I would actually recommend to uncheck this. And the reason is because it's try to figure out the best way to do it, but many times when we start work with plants, maybe we want to connect in different way. In this case, you need to uncheck, disconnect, and your preview maybe mess up. So usually I uncheck this. By default, it will be check in. Okay, let's go back in. You have to convert data types. It's leave this on. It's very useful because if you're going, for example, from vector to color, it will add specific node to convert the different types data to another one. So this is very good one. And new plant variations, just resetting. Next, we have the graphs, and it's what we work with different graphs, and you can preview. This is a node system. It's in terminology of Vue and Plant Factory. It's what's called graphs to work with. So we can just zoom, adjust them, and work all specifically with these navigations. We have it render, and a render, it is a little bit different. It's not like your final render, it's a preview how the plant will look when you put them inside like Cinema 4D or Vue. Very useful options to see mostly on the textures how they will affect. So right here you have your options, same like camera options, and you'll notice many things when we open camera options or when we open the material editor, it's all will be very similar to the Vue, which is kind of very nice about this. Okay, next we have a render, we have a display, and currently you can see we have a few windows that displayed. You have a little bit more of them. You can enable and move them maybe on different screen if you need it, or rearrange in a way you like it. Okay, and after this we'll also have the help, which is documentation and information about application. Below we have action bar, which is meaning some of these properties, all properties you can access from top down, but some of them are available below. And you can have it your randomizer if you need it for the properties that created. As well, you have it preview browse of the renders if you increase decrease mesh resolution. It does help if you want more details, or you actually satisfy, you want to reduce less. Enable wind, and wind is nice because when you test like plant, you want to see how the gaussing and other thing, gusting, how it will work. Also, you can disable specific segment when you work, color those segments. So it just all kind of help you tools that you can work with. On the left, we have all different segments, and we'll use most of them. And like Hydra allowed us to create grass and other things, so we'll use them later. Some of the segments, when you select it, they will be visible and some invisible. So invisible, for example, if we have an urge and we're going to connect to the root, you can notice it will select showing this one. So let's go delete that and go select Hydra example. Okay, and we'll connect that. And for example, Hydra, it's invisible. It doesn't mean it's broken, it just need connect additional elements. So for example, if we're going and we select like simple trunk or a cylinder, you can see how it will add them automatically to the Hydra to each origin point. And as we're working and selecting all these different components, down below we're changing on the parameters. The parameters elements will change depend on with what specific component we're working. So for example, Hydra, you can see it's got Hydra children and transformations. If we go on a simple like a trunk, you can see right here it's have a different more. It's got mesh, influence, materials, transformations, and the children. When we add it, children, it's like think branch to this. So like one branch may have it another branch, and those is going as children. Above we have it global. So parameters, we have a global setup for the plant's characteristic where we can change edge and other ones. Also, when you start linking those and utilize some of the properties, they'll become active here as well. Properties on a wind, and this is property how the plant directly affecting with the wind. For example, if you have it like plant made from rock, you don't want affecting by wind. So right here you can go and modify this. The meshing quality of the mesh, the bias presets if we have it any you want it in, as well also the post processing. Many of these properties we can modify and adjust. So let's look on how we can move around. In our node, you'll notice right here we can hold down Alt key and kind of move around when we press middle key. So it's very similar to the Vue pre-default keystroke. You can change the keystroke in the file options, but right here if you hold down Alt or Option and click middle button, you can pan kind of around. Just simple middle button or scroll wheel. You can scroll in and out, zoom in out. On our three-dimensional panel, we can same hold down Alt key, and a left key will allow us to rotate against the points. Middle button allowed us to pan around, and our right button allowed us to zoom in and out. It's very, very similar. If you work with Vue, navigation is exactly same to this. And as we in this windows above, we can see our preview. If you want to preview like shaded, just with normals or ambient occlusion, for example, right here, we can preview and always display mode. It does not affect texture, does not affect the shapes or anything. This is just purely for previewing in this windows, just to help you look on this. As well, you have options for display options, filters if needed, elements, which one you want to display it, preview on a mesh, and of course path tracer. It is allowed like live, very fast preview. You can start and stop from here. You'll notice it will change. Sometimes a little bit better to preview this way, and it should work actually somewhat faster, but it will depend on your video card. Okay, let's go stop at this time. But it's helpful mostly when you work like with texture. You want to be sure the textures look correctly. So with Path Tracer, just help you to achieve this. Okay, and of course you have your published parameters down below. And I say of course, but this is parameters. It's when you take your plant and like export in a view, those parameters what other users can access. For example, if I want them to modify age of the plant, I can publish some of those parameters, or some maybe parameters inside the Hydra, like change the radius of the distribution. I can create this as publisher parameter and allow other, when they work with these elements, go and change in other applications. Okay, let's look very fast on some material editor. And if we're going to select our plant, you'll notice we have materials display here. And when we add more different elements, more materials will display in our library. And by double clicking, you can open access our material editor. By default, you probably will be in a basic material editor. You want to switch to advanced because provide for us way more properties we can modify with this. Just click on advanced material editor, click change, and from here you can modify. You can even change different type of materials, and you can see we have it our simple PBR, two-sided, mixed, and grouped. So we don't have it like ecosystem inside the view because it does not make sense to have it here. But otherwise it will look same we have it like mapping, object or world based mapping, different effect. We'll cover how I say this will be special video just to go over materials, because materials here is similar to view, but at the same time they're different, because like double-sided materials, it's work excellent on the leaf, because sometimes you can look on a leaf or other things and you notice two sides they have different colors or in an even texture, so you actually can play around here. But you also have yours PBR materials. They can preload it or create your own, and if you preload it, you can use like Substance or other applications, third-party application, to create stunning PBR materials, or just use library, just take and download it. And of course all these properties, alpha, bump, normal, displacement, ambient occlusion, all of this very nice fully material kind of controlling system. Okay, I think that is a good point for us to stop right now on exploring this. So in next video we actually will go create something first. One of the I like approach to the working with applications, it's a hands-on. So it is nice when I can point and explain you, but most likely if you don't do something in practice, you will forget some of these options. So in our next video we're going to create probably some flower inside or patch of grass. I'm not sure, we'll see what we come up with this, and this will give you more kind of understanding how the application work and how the nodes work together. Well, thank you for watching and have a great day.